or arrange someone or something in a particular place or way. To put or arrange someone or something in a particular place or way. In order to be considered to be in position, you have to line up, right? We use the military for example, right? You see military, you see them all in formation. They're all in a position. They're all in position, right? Everybody's lined up according to some formation that the commanders or the higher ups put them in position, right? And the minute you step out like this, you're what? Out of position. So we're going to talk about something because in order to figure out, and this is with many words and with many things, not just positioning, in order to figure out how to be in position or whether or not you're in position, you have to know and understand what it means to be what? Out of position, right? Sometimes we can't figure out where we're supposed to be, but a lot of times if you figure out where you're not supposed to be, you can understand where you're supposed to be, right? That's another way of learning, is looking at it from the backside, right? So I might not know what I'm supposed to do, but I can figure out what I should do, or can find myself doing it by knowing what I shouldn't do. And it leads to, so look at position that way. Positioning is lined up, right? Now if I show you this row of chairs, what you notice about that row of chairs? Right there.
The one that's out of position.
One is out of position. That don't seem like no big deal, right? It don't seem like, okay, one of the chairs is out of position. But that is a big deal, because all the other chairs are lined up for a reason. And I did that for a reason. See, if I was to stand up and try to walk on these chairs, when I get to this chair, I'm going to have an issue. I'm going to have to get down, try to go around it, try to climb over, or I'm going to try to jump over it. And that's what we want God to do a lot of times. God don't jump over stuff. Right? God don't jump over stuff. When God sees that God is walking, just like God says, this is the path I'm going to take to your destiny, to your blessing. This is the path I'm going to take. These are the chairs I'm going to use. God steps up here. He steps here. He steps there. I was going to illustrate it, but I ain't trying to fall in this school. He steps there. When he gets there, there's a problem. And so many times our blessings, many times what God wants to do in our life is halted because of this one thing that's out of position. Well, why should that matter? This is in position, but this is in position. Because that's how God does stuff. And why is that important? Because one thing you got to learn about position, that it's not all about you. Right? So that one chair out of position is you. Now this chair got blessed by God. This chair got blessed. And God got to you, and now you're out of position. You done messed up this whole thing. Why did I use that illustration? Because some people in your circle aren't blessed because you're out of position. Fathers that are out of position, their whole family, their whole home is messed up, right? Mothers that's out of position can mess up their whole home, can mess up everything God is trying to do, right? Pastors that's out of position can mess up the whole ministry and all the things that God wants to do in that ministry, right? And it don't even have to be the pastor, any leader. If a pastor puts up a leader that ain't right, and the pastor allows that leader to be jacked, to be out of control or to do things that he shouldn't be doing. Now that whole thing is out of position, right? That whole thing is messed up and is affected by that one person or that one thing that's out of position. It's the same thing in your life, and I thank God for the revelation because he spoke this to me in my life as well. God says, get your finances in order. Because when your finances are out of position, you can't do all the things that I want you to do. My finances out of position, I can't take care of things in my home. When the church needs me, I can't help the church, right? If I have an emergency, I can't respond to that emergency. So God wants your finances in position. Definitely the relationships, not just husband and wife, but daughters, sons, and children, everybody involved. When that is out of position, that brings chaos, and God does not work in that. So many times that's one thing out of order. If you have a child that's out of order in your home, and you don't want to deal with it, or you fail to deal with it, you let that child just run rampant, that's messing up that whole home. That one child, that one thing that's out of position that God says you're supposed to have in order, that you're supposed to keep in line. When you think of a position, remember to say keep the position, things being in position is things being in line, things lined up, right? Now we know we in the grace area. Remember the salvation, grace and salvation covers you going to heaven. But God still expects things to be in order, right? So he can bless you here on earth. I'm not trying to position himself initially. They decided to take matters in their own hand. How many of us is that? You know, God says, look, I need you to position yourself so I can get your finances together. But you got a plan to do it. I'm going to go out and get 9 jobs. God let you get 10 jobs and you still struggle. I'm talking from experience. God let you get 10 jobs and for some reason you still struggle. What you got to find out is, where is God positioning you? Where does God want you, right? Where does God want us? Where does God want you? Because see, when you're in position with God, He takes care of His. Right? He takes care of His. So God, I don't believe it's God's desire that pastor work 9 and 10 jobs. Right? Because there's so many other things that I know God wants me to do. And me working 9 and 10 jobs kind of fights up against that purpose, right? So what does God want me to do? He wants me to position myself to receive His plan, to receive His purpose. Okay? And we can't keep living our life not seeking that purpose. We can't keep living our life year after year not finding that purpose. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of year after year rolling over, and I'm in the same place. Year after year rolling over, and I'm dealing with the same stuff. Year after year rolling and rolling, and I still rolling over, and I still don't have the promises that was promised to me. I know God's position don't change. So who must be out of position? Me. So that's why when we say this is the year of positioning, we are going to find our position. We're going to find our position. We're going to confirm our position, right? And we're going to confirm it with God. And we're going to have Lord reveal it to us, show it to us, and help me get in that place. Okay? So it says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before I formed you, I knew you. That goes along with that God had a thought about you in His mind. God had a thought about what you would be, what you would do, how your life would be, what you could do for Him. Right? And that's one thing I want us, when we start looking at position, I want us to understand one thing. It's not about us. God is going to position you for other things. God is not blessing selfish people. And God is not blessing people who have a selfish plan for their life. Right? So if you want to be a millionaire, everybody want to be a millionaire. If you want to be a millionaire, leave God out of that, because God is not going to bless you to be a millionaire if you are not in a line or have a plan to be a blessing unto others. Right? Because many times we think we're in position when we're just like that chair. We're out of position. That chair look like all the rest of the chairs. What's the big deal that I'm standing out a little bit? Right? Because when you standing out, God can't stand out. Right? When you standing out, God can't stand out. God ain't going to share His glory with you and nobody else. So if it's about you, then God said, I'm going to let it be about you, okay? All right. Wow. So God knew him before he was conceived, born. God formed him in the womb. God had a plan for him. God sanctified him, set apart. He was born. He grew up and got old enough to understand what God was saying. And then he didn't even have to speak for himself. All that God says, come here, let me touch your mouth. I'm even going to tell you to tell you what to say. All that happened, why? Because Jeremiah was in position. Right? We have fears, and that's why we're not in position. We're afraid to pursue some of the things we know God told us to pursue, right? We're afraid. You know, we think, oh, I'm by myself, or God says, I'm with you. Do not fear. And that's my plan for this year, is to be in position no matter what it is, no matter what it looks like, sounds like, feels like. I don't care. I plan on positioning myself because I know God is with me. He keeps giving me these subtle little things showing I'm with you. I'm answering your prayers. I'm not asking how you answer, but every time you pray, I show you that I'm with you. Or I show you that I heard you. Right? See, when I was a kid and my mother heard me, I got to keep asking her if I don't see her moving. Right? Lizzie now, she asks for something. If she don't see you moving in 2 seconds, she asks you again. If she don't see you moving in 2 seconds, she asks you again. It don't matter how many times we say, okay, wait. She don't see you moving, she asks you again. And that's how we treat God. And the difference is, you can't treat God like that. Right? Because when you ask God for something, then faith has to kick in. See, the good thing about God, God tells you to ask Him, but He tells you to answer your own request. Right? He said, ask and you shall receive. That's the end of it. Seek, you'll find it. Knock, it'll be open unto you. So God has prepared and made arrangements for us. What our life should be, how it should look, where we should be, and all these things. Probably God has even arranged down to the person you get married to and all these things. But we done got so far ahead of God, and we done grabbed whatever we wanted. Right? We done grabbed whatever looked good, smelled good, tasted good at the time. And God said, no, 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 no.
Right.
Your husband was over here. Your wife was over here. I know you're making that work with this person, but that wasn't the person that I seen you with when I was forming you in your mother's womb. Right? Right? It's just a fact. It's just the truth, you know? That we don't know because we don't seek God. We don't seek Him for things pertaining to our life. We're so independent from a God that we claim that we're dependent on. You can't be dependent and independent, right? If you're dependent on Him, you're dependent on Him. When you're dependent on somebody, you go to them for all your necessities, all your needs. You seek them. You consult them for all the things in your life, right? Many of us try to be independent too soon. Any of you ever had children that were trying to be too independent too soon? Right? What we call you trying to be grown. And many of us with God, we're trying to be grown. And we're out of position. And the difference between God is just like illustrating with this chair. God doesn't, I could have easily walked over here and put this chair in position. That was easy, wasn't it? And it's that easy for God. But God didn't choose to do it like that. God chose to say, well, it's 2, 4, 6, 7 chairs here. One of them is out of position. God says, why is that chair out of position? And He wants to fix it. And He wants to make sure that chair is not out of position again. And that's what happens in our life. God can easily come in. You think God can easily come in and fix your life? So there's only 2 reasons why He didn't do it. He's just a mean, horrible, uncaring God who likes to see you suffering, or He wants to fix it. Or He wants to make sure that when He does put you back in position, that you're in position, that you stay in position. That's how God operates, right? So in 2018, we're going to make sure we're in position, okay? One of the many attributes or characteristics of God is His faithfulness, His steadfastness, and character. Why am I saying that? And we're talking about position. I'm saying that because when God desires something, whether you believe it or not, He sticks with His self. He sticks to His. He's perfect. He knows what's best for you. So He doesn't change. He doesn't have to say, well, they're having a hard time getting in position. You know, so maybe I can settle for what they're trying to do. He knows what's best for you. He's planned what was best for you. He arranged what was best for you. He formed you in your parents' womb. He already knew what was best for you. So what's best for you don't change because you went off course. If we are faithless, right? If you mess up, if you get it wrong, if you get off course, if you get off track, if you fail to be in position, He remains faithful. He cannot deny Himself. When it comes up between you being right and God being right, God won't deny Himself. When God says this is the position you need to be in to be blessed, God can't deny Himself. When God says this is what I want for your life, God can't deny Himself. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? He's faithful in what He says. He's faithful in what He planned for you. What He planned for you, what He purposed for you was perfect. Okay? Solitary place and He prayed. Jesus spent time with God. Jesus was in position. Jesus was positioning Himself for His death. Jesus was positioning Himself for the end game. So He would go and He would pray to God to strengthen Himself. He would pray to God to gain the strength to endure some of the things He was about to endure. And he had to go to a solitary place. I challenge you, the reason many of you can't hear from God, because you're not separating yourself to hear from him. End up in position. When you're in the way, you end up where you want to be. Right? What's convenient for you, what works for you, what you feel, what you think you heard, what you think you know, what somebody told you. Right? You got to see God to hear it for yourself.